Okay, we studied in Paramecium about binary fission that occurs under favorable condition. But if the conditions are not favorable, then the Paramecium they undergo conjugation. So what happens in conjugation? The two Paramecium they get closer and they become attached to each other. Conjugates are formed, and it is equivalent to sexual reproduction, in which there is a reconstruction of nuclei after the fusion of pronuclei of two different individuals. They temporarily pair for this, that means conjugation, and it is equivalent to cross-fertilization of higher animals. So this conjugation was first described in Paramecium chordatum in 1889 by Hartwig and Moppus. So what exactly occurs in this? So as you can see here, the two Paramecium, they are of different mating type. They will come together in the course of swimming, and they will get attached to each other from anterior to ventral side, anteroventrally, and they are kept in this state only for 10 to 15 hours till the conjugation gets over. So what happens? They lose cilia and they stop feeding during conjugation, and their movement becomes slow. The macronucleus is vegetative in function, so just after forming this, so this is the first stage, conjugates gets developed. Okay, it's macronucleus and there is micronucleus. So macronucleus in both the mating type that get disintegrated or gets absorbed into the cytoplasm, and this micronucleus that will start dividing by meiosis. So there will be two divisions, first one reductional and second equational, and from one nuclei, four nuclei will be formed after meiosis, and macronucleus is completely disappeared at this stage. So out of these four nuclei, three nuclei they will migrate towards the anterior in both. Only one will stay here, that will remain attached a bit to the buccal cavity. So the one that gets attached in both the cases, that will survive, and the rest of the three which migrated in both towards the anterior end, they will die off. So only one will survive. The surviving one will divide now mitotically to produce two nucleus of different sizes. One, the smaller one is called as male pronucleus, and the larger one is known as female pronucleus in both the cases. Now it is equivalent to at the same time, there is a cross bridge formation. Initially, when the conjugates were developed, the conjugates were formed, there was a dissolution of the pellicle and the cilia over here, over near the cytopharynx, near the buccal cavity. So a cytoplasmic bridge was formed between the two conjugates. Now through this bridge, this smaller nucleus, the male one, the male pronucleus of this paramecium will migrate through cytoplasmic bridge over here, and its male pronucleus of this another one will migrate to the first one through this cytoplasmic bridge. So both male and female pronuclei, they are going to get fused, and this process is syngamy. Synkaryon is formed, and once the synkaryon is formed, these X conjugates they get separated. Okay, this syngamy is known as amphimixis in case of paramecium. So this synkaryon is formed, and the cytoplasmic bridge that gets dissolved, that gets removed now. The paramecium they will get separated, and they will form their pellicle and cilia, pellicle, their body lining. Now this we will be dealing with one X conjugate. What happens? So this zygote nucleus, it will divide mitotically. From one nuclei, two nuclei will be formed, 2 to 4, 4 to 8 nuclei. So after the third division, there will be modification in nuclei. The fold will become larger in size, and fold will remain small in size. These larger ones are known as macronuclei, and smaller ones are known as micronuclei. So out of these four smaller micronuclei, three will die off, three will disappear, disintegrate, only one will remain. So this is the condition, 4 macro plus 1 micro. Now this X conjugate is going to divide. transversely. Now it is going to divide transversely in both cases in such a way that each individual receive 2 macronuclei and 1 micronucleus. So when this divides, this micronucleus also divides, and one micronucleus is retained over here and the other one goes there. So these macro will divide. So out of 4, 2 will stay here, 2 will go there, and this micronucleus also divides along with the division of the X conjugate, and both daughter receive one copy of micronucleus. Again it is going to divide transversely, and it will divide in such a way that this micronucleus is also going to divide. So each daughter paramecium is going to receive one macro, and this divided one micro in each. So from one X conjugate we got 4 copies of daughter paramecium, and from 2 X conjugates we will get 8 copies. So from a pair of conjugates we will get 8 daughter paramecium. But this is not a method of reproduction generally in paramecium. This is only and only occurs in the case when conditions are not favorable. So about 100 to 350 binary fission may follow conjugation. And what are the advantages of conjugation? Its nucleus gets reconstructed during this process, so new nucleus is formed. It gets rejuvenated. Its metabolic processes, they are rejuvenated during conjugation. A variety is introduced since when nuclear dimorphism is observed here, so it could be a forerunner of sexual dimorphism in higher vertebrates, in higher chordates. So variety of observation, like through meiosis, where variation is getting introduced into the nuclei, and apart from multiplication, okay, one pair of conjugate is giving you for 8 daughter paramecium. Apart from this multiplication, it could be a forerunner of differentiation of sex in higher organisms. So this is all about conjugation.